Planning a Universal Orlando vacation in 2025 but don't want to fall trap to some of the most common mistakes? Well, this video is for you because even if you are a seasoned theme park vet, if you think you can wing Universal Orlando in 2025, think again. Universal is about to completely change the game with their brand new theme park Epic Universe, which is opening on May 22nd, 2025. So in this video, we are about to cover the most common mistakes that we see, and if you can avoid them, this might be your golden ticket to making sure you have the dream vacation that your family will talk about for years to come. So without any further ado, let's go get started. Thank you all again so much for checking out this video. My name is Mike and I am the owner of the Park Prodigy, and after countless trips to Universal Orlando and helping our clients plan thousands of Universal Orlando vacations, here are some of the most common mistakes you want to avoid to have the best vacation possible. So starting with number one, and we would say not purchasing your theme park tickets in advance. Now, of course, this is so important because theme park tickets are expensive, but they're always going to be more expensive at the gate. So not only will you save time, but you'll also always save money when you purchase your Universal Orlando park tickets in advance. And of course, 2025, it is important to understand the ticket options because there are a lot of moving parts that we haven't had in the past, specifically when it comes to Epic Universe. So Universal, at the time of the recording of this video, they're not selling one-day tickets just yet, unless you have an annual pass. But I've said it, my videos are typically not for annual pass holders. They're typically for the everyday family who's just trying to get the most out of their Universal vacation. So some of the only tickets that they are selling right now are multi-day tickets that include plus 1 day at Epic Universe. So you do have to be mindful of that, and that will impact your vacation. And I'm also finding that it is getting a little confusing now with the amount of different ticket options, specifically because there's 4 parks, you now can have a 3-park ticket, right? But a 3-park ticket in 2024 would be Volcano Bay, Islands of Adventure, and Universal Studios Florida, where a 3-park ticket now in someone's mind might be Epic Universe, Universal Studios Florida, and Islands of Adventure. So it can be confusing. Do your research, make sure that you buy your tickets in advance, and you'll be set up for success. Okay, so mistake number 2, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you might have heard me talk about how Disney has better food than Universal Orlando. Well, I have seen them step their game up in recent years, and one of the things that I do see families do is ignore the themed restaurants that Universal does have. And like I said, Universal's culinary team has been stepping their game up, and I personally have been very impressed by the amount of food. Now, one of the things I love is they will have food booths throughout the special events such as Universal Studios Mardi Gras and Universal Halloween Horror Nights, which are really well themed, but also some of the quick service restaurants are really well themed as well. And some of my new favorites are, of course, Minions Cafe. We have the original Wizarding World of Harry Potter restaurants, which are the Leaky Cauldron or the Dream Broomsticks. But also we have some brand new themed restaurants coming with Epic Universe. So the one I'm looking forward to the most is Toadstool Cafe, which is going to be within Super Nintendo World. But the photos and the videos that I've seen so far of the Burning Blade Tavern, I don't know what the food is going to taste like, but the ambiance of that restaurant looks absolutely insane. But it's essentially a burning mill serves as the venue for a monster hunting tavern that serves up drinks, burgers, wings, pretzels, and other tavern fare. And then we do have a brand new Wizarding World of Harry Potter restaurant coming, and I just think overall, over the past couple years, Universal has really been hitting it out of the park with the themed restaurants. Okay, over to the next mistake, and one of the most common questions that I receive is, Mike, is it really worth it to stay at an official Universal Orlando hotel? And yes, I personally do believe that it could be one of the biggest mistakes to stay off-site, especially if you're only going to Universal Orlando. If you have no days planned at Disney, you can't look over the benefits that come from staying at an official hotel. So some of them are, of course, first and foremost, early park admission. And early park admission is going to be going on at Epic Universe on select days. And we actually did an entire video on what we know about early park admission at Epic. We'll leave a link to that video in the show notes. But also, once you get to your hotel, you do get free transportation to and from the theme parks, which is so crucial. And when it comes to transportation, one of the newest and coolest things is if you love being as close to the parks as possible and you love looking at the parks, let's say from your hotel room, well, Universal does have a brand new hotel that's connected to Epic Universe with a dedicated park entrance in Helios Grand Hotel. And even if you don't want to stay at Helios, I just feel like there is a hotel for every size, budget, and it does pay to be this close to the parks. Okay, over to mistake number 4. And of course, we did have to talk about technology at some point in this video. And the mistake here is underutilizing the Universal Orlando app, or really just not downloading and having the Universal app set up before you get down to Orlando. And so the Universal Orlando app is going to be the ultimate cheat code to making sure you get the most out of your day, as it will unlock stuff such as ride wait times, wait time notifications. You can filter based on certain rides that you might be interested in. Also, the app is needed to mobile order, and it's not even if you want to mobile order. At some of the restaurants that I just mentioned, such as the Minion Cafe, you literally will need to mobile order on your phone. So you want to make sure you have the app downloaded at all costs before you get down to Orlando. And this kind of ties into my next one. And I guess we spoke about food, but another mistake that I see is that a lot of families will feel like they can't visit the theme parks on a budget. And so some of the things that we will see and to always keep an eye out for are to see if Universal Orlando is running any deals throughout the year or promotions, right? We've seen in the past Universal will run promotion on vacation packages that could save you up to 30%. And the other thing that I love too is when it comes to budgeting for theme park vacations, you can book an official Universal Orlando vacation for as little as $50 per person down, and then you could pay it off over time. Now, you do have to have your vacation be more than 45 days away, but it's just another way that you can budget and really take advantage of deals. Or you can team up with a travel agent like the Park Prodigy, and we actually will make sure that if a new deal is released and you are eligible to be moved over to that deal, we'll automatically move you over to make sure you take advantage, and you'll get that savings on your package that's already booked, essentially. Another great one, and kind of tying now into the food, is I personally love to get groceries delivered to my hotel on the first check-in day. So you do have to make sure that for Universal, you have to meet the delivery driver, but this is a great way to just save money and have snacks and breakfast items, stuff like that, in your hotel throughout your trip. And tying into that, another great one is upgrade and get a Coke Freestyle cup. And so what this is, it is a upfront fee where typically the Coke Freestyle cups will cost around $18.99 for the cup, but you will get unlimited soda throughout the day. And you can even, the more cups you buy, the less they are. But just overall, if you were going to be buying a drink at every single meal and then you'll 1 or 2 drinks after that per day, this is a no-brainer. It's a great way to save money and really get unlimited drinks throughout the day. Okay, so over to mistake number 6, and this is even for my Universal Orlando veterans. Make sure that you have a solid game plan, but specifically do your research and have a game plan for Epic Universe. Now, we've spoken about, how it's going to be difficult to get more than 1 day out of this park. Just the way that the tickets are being sold, it's almost impossible. And my honest opinion is, even when the 1-day tickets do go up for sale, I can't see a world where it's just easy to go to this park for multiple days within the same week. So you might only have 1 day to hit Epic Universe, so be prepared. Make sure you know exactly which rides you have your heart set on. There are going to be 11 rides in total and 2 shows. Another important one that ties into this is make sure you understand the minimum height requirements, especially if you're visiting with young kids, so you make sure they get the most out of their time. And rumors have it that Universal might manage capacity through virtual queues. I cannot promise that is what's going to happen, but you can see if people are talking about it, it just adds fuel to the fire, where you have to be prepared. You need to be up to date and up to speed on all of the news and how the new park will work, so you do get the most out of it. And so over to mistake number 7, and we've spoken about, right? You don't want to miss out on staying at an official Universal Orlando hotels, but how does that tie into your theme park? And we spoke about making sure that you take advantage of early park admission. So of course, guests who stay at official Universal Orlando hotels can enter the theme parks 1 hour before other park guests. And this isn't just capped at Epic Universe. This can be a great tool to take advantage of at Islands of Adventure, Universal Studios Florida, and one of the ones that I also love the most is Volcano Bay. So the rides that are open up for early park admission at Islands of Adventure, it's going to be Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, Flight of the Hippogriff, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, and the Jurassic World Velocicoaster. Universal Studios Florida will typically have Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts and Minion Mayhem. And over to Epic Universe, we do have, different from the other parks, we have Super Nintendo World is going to be open up with Donkey Kong Minecart Madness, Mario Kart, Bowser's Challenge, Yoshi's Adventure, and Stardust Racers. And another thing that I would say too is this is not only a great way to take advantage of some of the most popular rides, but also to take advantage of the areas with very, very little people in them, so you can enjoy the ambiance and really get to explore what the areas are all about. Over to mistake number 8, and we would say not planning to go on water rides, specifically not planning to go on water rides when you're not at Volcano Bay. So there's no denying that you will get soaked on certain water rides. Over at Islands of Adventure, you do have Popeye and Bluto's Bill Rat barges. It took me 3 tries to say that, guys. And then we also have Dudley Do Right's Ripshore Falls. what we recommend here is make sure that you wear dry fitted clothing, make sure you have water friendly shoes on, or even bring an extra change of socks, bring an extra change of clothes. And Universal Epic Universe does look like it has one ride that you could potentially get wet on, and that is going to be Friar Drill over in Isle of Burke. Okay, over to mistake number 9, and this one would be ignoring motion sickness. So very, very important, especially if you're not a theme park enthusiast. We would say to be prepared, and again, this kind of ties into doing your ride research. Make sure that you do understand, which rides might give you a little bit of trouble when it comes from a motion sickness standpoint. So if you watch my channel, I've said this so many times over the years. The 2 rides that really come to mind specifically are going to be Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, also the Simpsons ride, but there are some, like weird ones, like the Mummy. Sometimes I'll get off the ride and I kind of just feel a little woozy. Some of the best ways around this are, of course, you speak with your doctor, figure out what, over-the-counter medications such as Dramamine you might be able to take. And another one that I love here is even if you don't plan to go on, let's say, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, you can always wait with your party to really see the queue and to take it all in, but then you don't have to go on the ride. When you get to the front, you can let the team member know you would prefer not to ride it. Okay, over to the next mistake, and a lot of families feel that they have to get a certain ticket type or they have to buy the Universal Express Pass because someone else told them. But of course, this is a mistake because buying the Universal Express Pass and not knowing if you need it or not is a costly one, because the Universal Express Passes a lot of times are actually more expensive than your admission ticket. And there are ways to do this efficiently. And some of the ways that we personally love are to possibly stay at one of the Signature Collection hotels that give you the free 2-park unlimited Express Pass. At this point in time, they are the Hard Rock Hotel, Lowe's Royal Pacific, or Lowe's Portofino Bay. We also sell and we love the Universal Orlando combo ticket, which can be a great way to get the Express Pass for multiple days. And of course, it is important to note that Universal Orlando hasn't released the information on what the Express Pass will look like at Epic Universe just yet. But we do expect it to be right in line, or even more so, a little bit more expensive than the prices so far. So again, it's important to keep in mind and have a solid game plan if you need this option or not. And we are about halfway through this video, everyone. Before I get to mistake number 11, I really, really hope that you are finding this video helpful. And if you are, please just be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel, as I have a lot more similar videos coming out in the coming weeks to get you as prepared as possible for your next Universal Orlando vacation. Okay, over to mistake number 11. If you do decide to upgrade and go with the Universal Express Pass, make sure that you use it the right way. So understand, if you have the regular Universal Express Pass, that's not unlimited. This allows you to access each ride only once. So what you want to do is, especially if you have your heart set on going on a ride twice, is if you're taking advantage of early park admission, and let's say right when early park admission stops, there's a ride that has a really low wait time, don't use your Express Pass on that ride, because you're pretty much using your one time for the day. You want to make sure that you'll save it for a little bit later in the day when wait times are higher. Okay, over to mistake number 12, and that would be not having a game plan when it comes to visiting Universal with young children. And this is important for a few reasons, but a lot of the kids rides, or quote unquote kids rides, are separated and split between the Universal Orlando parks. So you want to make sure you understand which rides do your kids have your heart set on, and you might need quote unquote a park to park ticket, especially if you're only visiting for, let's say, 2 or 3 days, to get everything, to get on everything and to see everything within Universal. And it really ties into mistake number 1. And so when it comes to visiting Universal with kids, we do have Seuss Landing in Islands of Adventure. We also have DreamWorks Land and Minion Land, which is in Universal Studios Florida, which is really the main areas for families with young kids. There's also certain different camps where DreamWorks Land now does have Kung Fu Panda, where kids can kind of run around, and there are some water attractions. Also Camp Jurassic over in Islands of Adventure. And like we said, Epic Universe is going to have Super Nintendo World, and one of the things I think kids are going to love are the Power-Up Band games that will keep your kids busy for hours. And also there's new character meet and greets in Super Nintendo as well. Also, How to Train Your Dragon in Epic Universe Isle. So it's How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Burke. And from what we could see, they're actually going to have flying dragons, but also 2 new shows in Epic Universe that families with young kids could love. And I think specifically, again, that another popular thing that I do see is for families visiting with young kids who are going specifically for Harry Potter, keep an eye out on the Wizarding World of Harry Potter vacation packages. And so what this will do is it essentially gives you 4 nights at a Universal Orlando hotel. It will give you a 2-park, 4-day park-to-park ticket plus 1 day at Epic Universe. But it also comes with some added vouchers. So we have a special Florian ice cream flight in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. We have breakfast at the Leaky Cauldron, breakfast at Three Broomsticks, breakfast at Café La de la Sirène at Universal's Epic Universe, and then one Shutterbutton's photography session in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. What we did is we priced this up for you at home to give you an idea of what it looks like from August 6th to August 10th, 2025. This Wizarding World of Harry Potter vacation package for a family of 4 was $3,559. So you could see it's a lot more affordable than you might have originally thought. And just doing things like that and really just kind of bundling it together kind of ties into my next mistake, number 13, which is over planning, right? So now we've spoken about making sure you have a game plan, but on the flip side, it's just as bad to over plan. And because this is going to wear yourself out or just put too much stress on your vacation. So we always find that it's so important to have a realistic game plan going into your day. And a lot of that comes with just having an idea of what you can do, what your family, what the kids can get on. So as much as having a solid game plan is crucial to getting the most out of your day, we would say it's just as bad on the flip side to have unrealistic expectations or just over plan where everyone's going to get burnt out. And of course, this is really, really important when it comes to taking advantage of early park admission, because you will be in the parks really, really early, and staying until really late at night can be a long day, especially if you're not used to doing it. So some of the ways you can get around that is you can use pre-made plans like ours that will kind of give you an idea of what's realistic. Like we have pre-made plans that will tell you exactly which rides to go on in what order and kind of space out based on our estimated wait times. Another one that I love is to give yourself a rest day back at your hotel in the middle of the week, if possible, to just give yourself some rest. And this kind of ties into mistake number 14, but make sure that you are wearing appropriate clothing. Specifically, make sure you're wearing comfortable shoes. I actually read recently that the average person walks 8 to 10 miles in a Disney or Universal vacation. So as you could see, making sure you are wearing the right shoes is such an important part, but also from a clothing standpoint, right? You want to be wearing very comfortable clothing, especially if you're visiting in the hot Florida months, or on the flip side, it's the layer method. If you're visiting, let's say November, December, January, February, where it could be a little bit colder in the morning or at night, you want to have sweatshirt on where you could take the layers off as you go. And then over to the next mistake, and we would say getting a locker right as you walk in. And so one of the cool things is a lot of the rides that require that you don't have a bag or anything like that, they actually do offer you free lockers for the duration of your ride. And a lot of times when it comes to it, we just find that renting a locker as soon as you walk in the park might not be as convenient if you, let's say you need that stuff, frequently throughout the day. There might be a better situation for you a little bit further inside the park. Okay, so over to the next mistake, and this is another one that I personally love, and we would say skipping the outdoor rides in the morning. So we've spoken about the hot Florida months, but one of the other things that comes from visiting the state of Florida are going to be the thunderstorms or just the rain in general. So what we have found is making sure that you get the outdoor rides out of the way as early in the morning as possible just gives you that much of a better time or a better advantage. Let's say if you are going to be hit with a afternoon thunderstorm, whatever it might be, you got those rides out of the way and you can then tackle and focus on the indoor rides during the day. I also don't want to scare everyone. It rains in Florida every day during the summer, but it's typically like 20-30 minutes and then it's over. But again, you just always want to prioritize, and some of the rides that come to mind, just think most of the coasters are going to be outdoors. And then over at Epic Universe, some of the coasters that come to top of mind are going to be Stardust Racers, which is open for early park admission, Donkey Kong Minecart Madness, also open for early park admission, and then another one that I'm looking forward to is Curse of the Werewolf. Okay, over to mistake number 17, and we would say not bringing a backpack or really just not bringing anything you would need at the parks from home, and this will help you save money. So of course, some of the things that come to mind are going to be ponchos, umbrellas, sunscreen, hats, cooling towels, really, like it sounds, anything that you can bring from home that will help you save money in the park, we would always recommend to bring it. Over to the next mistake, and this is number 18, and now this is a new one for 2025 or has some different layers for 2025, understanding how to use your park-to-park ticket. So for the longest time, you've probably been hearing me say, of course, you need that park-to-park ticket in order to ride the Hogwarts Express, which is the very popular Wizarding World of Harry Potter train. Now, one of the things here is make sure that if you do have the park-to-park ticket for the Hogwarts Express, that you do ride the Hogwarts Express both ways, as it's going to be a different ride each way. But now new for Epic Universe is you can't go park to park into Epic Universe, which means if you buy, like we said, let's say with the Harry Potter vacation package ticket, where it's a 2-park, 4-day park-to-park ticket with 1 day at Epic Universe, technically that's a 5-day ticket, but you only have one admission day to Epic. And so what the park-to-park ticket allows you to do is you could start your morning at Islands of Adventure, and then you can go park-to-park over to Universal Studios Florida. What you can't do now is you can't start your morning at Islands of Adventure and then try to go park-to-park over to Epic Universe just because you have that park-to-park ticket. It's just not the way the tickets are set up. So you could see it's important to understand that to make sure that you have a solid plan going into your day. And you'll see even as vacation planners, right, we have spoken with Universal a couple times, and what I believe is going to happen, there's still, I need to actually see it in the real world. What I believe is going to happen is if you go to Epic Universe and then you want to go to Universal Studios Florida or Islands of Adventure, if you go within the same day, I believe they're going to allow you to do that. But if you go from Epic to Islands, I actually think that's going to be 2 days of your ticket, if that makes sense. So again, don't quote me on that. That's what I could see right now. And we will definitely keep everyone posted as we learn more when Epic Universe opens up. Okay, over to the next one. And we would say this, again, new with Epic Universe opening up and overestimating or even underestimating how long it's going to take you to get from the parks. And if you are going park to park, right? Or even from your hotel to the parks. If you've been visiting Universal Orlando, in the past or over the years, you have now gotten accustomed to your official Universal Orlando hotel and then just going over to City Walk, which is really connected to the original 2 parks, or even going from those hotels to Volcano Bay, which is still right in the middle of the the original Universal Orlando hub. But it does change now with Epic Universe, as Epic is not actually connected to the main Universal hub. It's kind of like its own campus. So with that, there is going to be a little bit longer travel time, let's say, if you're staying at the original 8 Universal Orlando hotels compared to, let's say, the 3 new Epic Universe hotels. There's just going to be different travel times. So be aware of that. Make sure that you're planning around that, especially if you're taking advantage of early park admission in the morning. And last but not least, mistake number 20, and we would say not taking advantage of the single rider line. And one of the reasons why this is so important at Universal Orlando is because it has a little bit more of those thrill rides. And when it comes to, I know families visiting, there's typically always, there's parents who some like some rides, some don't, but kids of all different ages. So this could be a great opportunity if not everyone in your group wants to go on a ride, but you don't want to wait, whatever it might be, an hour. You can always try to take advantage of the single rider line so you can hopefully get on a shorter wait. And Universal Orlando did just announce that some of the Epic Universe single rider lines that they will have are going to be for Stardust Racers, Hiccups Wing Gliders, Minecart Madness, Curse of the Werewolf, Harry Potter and the Battle of the Ministry, and then Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge. Okay, so there you have it, everyone. As you could see, there are a lot of new moving parts when it comes to planning a Universal Orlando vacation in 2025, even compared to just a few short months ago. But hopefully, if you avoid these most common mistakes, you will make sure that you have an amazing time and get the most out of your Universal Orlando vacation. And if you do need a little additional help planning that trip, just be sure to go check out our website, theparkprodigy.com. And as a thank you for sticking around all the way till the end of this video, I do have a special promo code that you can go use on our website, The Park Prodigy, to save an extra $25 off your next Universal Orlando vacation. And that promo code is going to be YouTube25. But I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you all again so much for checking out this video. And until next time, I will talk to you soon.